So guys, I went ahead and moisturized off the camera. So what I use for my face, I use the number 7 Restore and Renew Day Cream. This is really good, leaves you looking a little bit dewy, doesn't have a strong scent on it. And then I also took my Believe Moisturizing Eye Balm. This is the travel size that came in one of the kits that I have, and this is super good, very hydrating. So the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna take this All-Star Matte Blur Primer from Colourpop. This is just what it looks like. And we're gonna go ahead and take a little bit on the back of our hand and go ahead and apply that. This primer has a little bit of a citrusy scent, which I'm not really bothered by because it's very faint. And it feels more like a moisturizer, more so than it feels silicone-y, because I know a lot of primers feel more silicone, but this one feels just like a moisturizer. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna go ahead and use is this Colourpop No Filter Foundation in the shade Light 60, because I'm very light. And my other Beauty Blender foundation that I would use in my other videos was a little bit too dark for me. So since I wanted to try out a little bit more of Colourpop's products, I was like, might as well get a foundation. And the good thing about these foundations is that they're super cheap and really affordable. So we're just gonna go ahead and take this with a couple of pumps behind our hand. And then also comes with a pump, and you get to turn it off. We're gonna apply this with a beauty blender because I found that it applies way better with a beauty blender than a brush. With the brush, it kind of clings to your dry patches. So I like to go ahead and take my Morphe sponge. I love this sponge. It may be a little bit too hard for people, but honestly, once you break it in, it is just so good. And a fraction of the price of Beauty Blender. So it does have good coverage, I will say. The only thing that I will say about this foundation, go ahead and take a little bit more, is that you could really see texture with it. Like, it'll cling to your dry patches, and also it goes into your pores. So I suggest using a good primer with it if you really can't stand the look of foundation in your pores, because it is kind of ugly. Like, you really see how makeup gets into your skin. So going along with the Colourpop, we are going to take the Colourpop No Filter Concealer in the shade Fair 02, and I realize this is a little bit too light for me, but I like my foundation like super white. I mean, not my foundation, my concealer is super white. I really love that bright under eye. I think that is so beautiful. Ugh, I love it. So what I would say is set it right away. So that is what it looks like blended out. Okay, it is a little bit too light for me, but I'll make it work. So then we're gonna go in with my Colourpop No Filter Setting Powder in the shade Translucent. And it's a little bit more yellow based than the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. The Laura Mercier one looks a little bit more, I would say, white, like kind of grayish. And this one's a little bit more yellow based. And I just like to do that and go over the places that I put the concealer. And this looks super pretty. The rest of my face, what I like to do is take my Maybelline Fit Me powder in the shade Light, because this one is a little bit more colored. so I like to put that over the rest of my face. So far so good. It looks super pretty. I have my ring light here, so that helps also. So what I like to do next is go ahead and take a big brush and make sure that I have dusted off all the powder so I don't look like stark white, because I be doing that sometimes. So I take my Morphe brush in the Rose Gold collection. This is R0. And just go ahead and buff out. Okay, so brows are on. I just took my L'Oreal Brow Stylish Shape and Fill. It looks like this. It's kind of like the Anastasia brow definer because it's that thick brow pencil. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and take is my bronzer. I take my Benefit Hoola bronzer, and I'm using a Morphe M527. I really love this brush because you get to chisel out your forehead and then use the, I guess, pointier part of the brush to get into the cheekbones. I really love this bronzer because it is not too brown, it is not too cool, it's just right. The one bronzer that I have that I cannot stand is the Urban Decay bronzer. It's the one with the palm trees on it. So if you really like red tone bronzers, then that bronzer is for you. But if you don't and you like a more neutral bronzer, less cool tone, then I say Hoola is the one for you. This is my Style by Her Rouge palette by Tarte. If you know, Her Rouge is one of the makeup artists for the Kardashians. She does, I believe, Chloe. I mean, she does all of them, but I think she does Chloe the most. And this blush, it's honestly so beautiful. It's like a coral blush, and it is in the shade Cheeky. And I just like to apply that on the apples of my cheeks. Just perfect. And then over my nose, so I look a little bit more sunburned. Perfect. So the next product I'll be using from Colourpop is this California Love palette. It is honestly so beautiful. I'm a very warm tone girl, and look at these colors. So if you're a warm tone person like me, don't like cool tone, this is for you. And what's awesome, it comes with the shade names on the back, because nowadays bigger brand palettes come with just that plastic sleeve with the names on it, like in between. I can't stand that. I'll just honestly just throw it away, and it's honestly a waste of product. So we're gonna go ahead and go in with my Morphe M433 brush. This is kind of like a blender brush, crease brush, and we're just gonna go ahead and dip into the color Gnarly. It's kind of like a transition shade, and then I'm gonna take my Kylie mirror. Just go ahead and look into that.
So here I'm just taking that bone shade and I'm wiping it all over the crease and also all over my eyelid. I like to take a neutral color to put into my crease so it gives it a base for all the other colors that I'm about to use. And here I'm just rambling on, so I decided to fast forward.
So using that same Morphe brush, we're gonna go into Sequoia. It's kind of like a mustardy shade, just to warm it up a little bit. And we're just gonna put that in.
So here I'm just taking that orangey mustardy shade in the palette named Sequoia, and I'm putting that mainly in the crease with my crease buffer brush that I used for that brown shade all over the lid. Here I just wanted a little bit of pop of color since I knew I was going to go back into a little bit of brown to soften up that color and also to add some dimension to the outer corner of the eye. And I wanted to keep it a little bit more natural since I was going out later in the day with my boyfriend.
So next I'm going to go ahead and take this Morphe R, I believe it's 23. It like rubs off, and just go ahead and blend these colors together so it doesn't look like a disaster. I just got eyelash extensions from my friend Priscilla. I will leave her Instagram down below in case you guys are interested, you know, to get your lashes done. Hunty, I need to go get a fill, but they still be looking cute. So then we're gonna go into Laguna, which is a little bit of a warm tone brown, and then just go ahead and do this on the outer corners and in the crease.
So like I said before, I'm just taking a little bit of a darker brown into the crease and also on the outside of my eyelid to add a little bit more dimension, but not anything too crazy.
I'm gonna take this gnarly shade again on a Morphe M124, and I'm gonna like pseudo cut the crease with this.
So as I was saying, I'm taking that flat shader brush and that gnarly shade, which is like a bone white color, and just pseudo cutting the crease, which means that I just want to add a little bit more dimension and a lighter color onto the lid rather than it all looking like it's all meshed together. And that's pretty much it for this look.
She's looking cute. So the next thing I'm going to take from Colourpop is this Super Shock Cheek Pearlized Highlighter in the shade Flexitarian. If you've been on YouTube for a while, you know that Colourpop's Flexitarian highlight is very popular and it's so pretty to get into that. And then to wet my Morphe M510 brush, I'm going to go ahead and take the Colourpop All-Star Face Setting Powder. So I'm just going to go ahead, do that, dip into the highlighter like so, and go ahead and coat my cheeks. Hunty, yes. She pretty, she real cute. Yes. And then just over the cupid's bow, dip in a little more. Cute. And then go ahead in the center of the nose, blend that out. Yes. She cute. So I'm gonna go back into the California Love palette. And I'm gonna take the Sequoia shade on that same Morphe M124 brush and put that on the lower lash line.
So to go down to the lower lash line, I'm just adding that mustardy shade Sequoia down on the lower lash line to add another pop of color, but here I'm just doing it underneath the eye.
Okay, so I'm just gonna set all this in place with my All-Star setting powder from Colourpop. And then go ahead and cute. Ow! Cute. Get into this. Hunty. And Colourpop is so affordable. Like, since you know how I told you about the foundation, you know, like you could miss out on the foundation. But still, it's still affordable, you know. Even if you're like, fuck, I don't want to like waste my money, and you still want to use it, I mean, you can make it work. You can mix it with something else that you have, and it's not that bad. So to finish off the look, I'm gonna go ahead and do my lips. I'm gonna take the Colourpop lippy pencil in the shade Another Round. This is kind of just like a mauve-y pink color. And then we'll just go ahead and take. I have one of their Luxe lipsticks. So pretty, and honestly, this formula is so good. Ah, so creamy. And this is in the shade Y2K. And that is the completed look. She's cute. So if you like this video and you want me to incorporate more makeup videos, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Give me a thumbs up. and I'll see you in my next one.